Previously in X-Men, while his teammates are transported to San Francisco to battle the Beyonder, some of them are left to ponder, whatever happened to Nightcrawler? I am Jason Lapidus.
I am Chris Sanagan.
And we are Group of 7 Comics. Welcome to the Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that became classic as we read Uncanny X-Men 204 in episode 133 of our never-ending live stream read-through. I'm so excited. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Never ending it is, never ending it shall be.
Yeah, we will in one day, but not today.
Not today, friend.
Not today. Yes, were you wondering whatever happened to Nightcrawler?
A little. Yeah. You know, we have this interaction with the Beyonder, a core member, leader of the team, actually, should we say at that point, and not around. Too busy doing this.
True. Actually, I think Storm reclaims the leadership in issue 201.
Oh, is that the official? Okay. All right.
Well, none of it really is official. Well, let's talk about that for a minute. We mentioned this last week. Yeah. We were talking about how Cyclops has gone off to reconnect with Jean Grey over in another title, soon to be X Factor. And how, like it feels like we're, talking about continuity, the things that are happening. But it's more likely that there's a mandate that Cyclops is going to be in a new series from editorial. So they write these stories around these things, right? And we get so invested in like what happened in the issue, what happened in the story, what happened here, right. When in fact a lot of what writers are playing with are not just because the stories write themselves, but this individual or a team has a responsibility to the business to create this commodity. And in this case, it's serialized storytelling. So wanted to bring that up because I think it plays a role in what we're reading today.
Okay, then.
And whereas other Tuesday night live stream read-throughs of the comics that became classic might focus on continuity, which is fine. And, the first time Amanda Sefton appears or the first time Nightcrawler says this word in whatever issue, which is all fine. My bias is always more on this being a story that people are telling. And I'm thinking about the storytellers and why they make the choices they make, as opposed to thinking, why do the characters make the choices they make?
Sure.
Because the characters are real.
Right. That's a logical approach.
Well, it's an approach. At the same time, you can be totally immersed in it all and really be thinking about the characters and
Sure.
And be able to suspend your disbelief. I have a foot in both worlds. Let's put it that way. Let's say hello to Chuck Dotson. Howdy, friends. And Michael. Hello, everyone. Hello back to both of you. And Massimo is here. Hey, everyone. I'm really here for the accents, which, of course, is code for I'm really here for Chris's accents. Because I don't do any that I'm willing to put on the air. There you go. And Allie, how you doing? Allie, happy Tuesday, all you awesome nerds. I don't know who's a nerd, man. I don't know. I'm not a nerd. Are you a nerd?
I'm more spaz. Did you ever watch that SNL sketch? Geek Dweeber Spaz.
I probably came across it at some point. Which era of SNL is it?
David Spade, Adam Sandler.
Okay.
That era. And
I'm sure I watched it when it was airing.
It was a game show.
Yeah, I figured from the name. Thank you.
You had to, yeah. And it was all like the high school quarterback and the.
Yeah.
Is this a geek dweeb or spaz?
That's good. Yeah, I'm not sure if I identify. Well, definitely don't. I have a geek streak, is what I've always thought.
Right.
But definitely not a spaz and not a dweeb. But nothing wrong with being a nerd, Mass. That's true. I just don't necessarily identify. Yeah. I like some nerdy things.
Of course.
But I'm not like, to me, there was always an edge of academic intelligence that went along with nerdiness. Like a nerd is also good at something in school. And I wasn't really good at anything particular in school other than
hair. And you think that's a joke, YouTube, but it's not. I've seen the pictures.
In school, I was good on the art side, and that's cool. But I didn't have the other parts that came with nerd. I just like a lot of nerd things, and non-nerd things.
But I love how that idea of has evolved into fandom, right?
Yes, totally.
That idea of like, maybe it was kept in your basement or you're in the garage, Weezer song,
Right.
all those things. Speak with Nightcrawler. It's now fandom, and it was on full display in all its awesomeness. We were at Fan Expo Canada this past weekend. You were there all 4 days. I was just there for the tail end, and largest fan show in Canada. You were never not blown away by the creativity and the fandom, including I think we can both honestly say the best homemade Hellboy cosplay that we have. I mean, I don't think I've seen too much Hellboy cosplay to begin with. This was like all cardboard, handboard. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
No, it was really cool. And in addition to his name is Parker, the guy who was cosplaying as Hellboy, it was this homemade cardboard aesthetic, but also he painted on like Mike Mignola's ink marks of how he expresses a rocky or rough texture. So it was really cool. Ali asks, why is Chris inside a LiveJournal profile icon from 2008?
Is that because it's like blurry where I am?
You probably have to wipe your camera. It has.
I did that, but every time I do that, it like sends like a screech.
Well, you can put it. Well, I can mute you if you want.
Go for it. Try it.
You are muted. So now wipe the schmutz off of that thing. It's maybe use a cloth or whatever. That is up to you. No, it's not. Not making a difference. Chris says you're unmuted.
And I prefer to be in the upside down. It's all like spory, right? It's like spory in the upside down, right?
Floating particulate.
Floating spores.
Yeah. I was talking to someone, I've already forgotten who, no offense to whoever that was, we were discussing, might have been neighbor to our left at Fan Expo, about comics as kids and being like part of outsider culture, like how it was when I was a kid. At least it was sort of subculture. And the feeling that I remember I had when I got into comics was that a lot of kids were already watching the American versions of Japanese anime that we were getting in North America, like Battle of the Planets G-Force or Robotech, so on and so on. What's the one where they go around the solar system in that giant boat called Yamato with the hole in the front? Anyway, someone in the chat will say what it's called. It just escapes me. It's something like Battleship Yamato is maybe the name in Japanese, but in English it was called something else. Anyway, and I forget the name of the show. Star Blazers. Thank you. Here, the point was going to be, and then Spider-Man, Amazing Friends, and Batman, and then Superman movie, and all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff was pop culture. But when I got to comics, I didn't feel like an outsider reading comics. I felt like an insider. I felt like this was the access to the inside scoop that informed the rest of culture that like everyone else knew. Everyone else knew Empire Strikes Back, but if you read the comics, like you knew more. And I found like I loved the insider side of that a lot more than just the pop culture side. Anyway, I'll gladly take the nerd title. I just always thought nerdy came with an element of academia that I do not have. Please.
I felt that way about music. And
me too.
I mean, definitely had that cachet a little bit. So on same spectrum of what we could call nerddom in terms of having a healthy appetite for something, content, creation, whatever you want to define it as. But I worked in like an indie record store. I bought all the indie at the time, like indie music mags, all that stuff. So like I was, I prided myself on being up on bands before they'd hit the general. And then of course I'd be like, it's cool. I'm beyond it already. or
Speaking of which,
seeing bands in their in like smaller venues before they got too big.
Yeah. Oh no, seeing a band at the Horseshoe or something like that before they play at, I don't know, Massey or whatever, it was always a treat.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of you in the '90s and music,
yes.
Are you going to?
Am I going to fly over to the UK to catch Oasis?
Yes.
4 nights at Wembley? No. I've seen them enough times here in Toronto.
Do you think they're gonna book the shows and bail?
No, I think it's gonna be friggin' awesome. I think they're gonna go. Did you ever catch them at all in the '90s? I know you weren't a huge fan, but did you catch them?
Well, I mean, I have a couple of the records, and I played through. Through What's the Story, Morning Glory on Guitar with Friends a few times. I don't think I ever saw them live, nor do I think I actually wanted to. If memory serves, I probably saw a few TV appearances and thought they were a giant sonic mess. That benefited from the precision that studio repetition allows.
I saw them 3 times.
You must have had a great time.
Yeah, and it was very. In fact, the times I did watch and they weren't fighting, the brothers weren't fighting. It was a pretty precise, solid 60 minutes, boom, 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 professional. We're here to play you the hits. The songs you want to hear, then we'll get off stage and a lot of that kind of stuff. There's an infamous show in Toronto where it's on the island and Noel Gallagher gets tackled by a person, Virgin Fest. You remember that show, Jason?
I do remember the show.
Like 2007, and someone
sounds like a disaster to me.
Someone gets behind the scenes or the stage and tackles Noel Gallagher, breaking a rib or damaging collarbone, and they stop the show, and so you're watching, you're what's going on, and then to his credit though, once things settled, they came back and played their 6 songs, and then they kind of called it a night. But there you go. That was at that show, the show where Noel Gallagher got tackled and broke a collarbone or a rib or whatever. Nice. And then Liam Gallagher was great because he was clearly faking that he wanted to fight the guy. So when you hold me back, but no one's holding you back. You know what I'm saying? That was my point. That was my view from the audience. Yeah.
Mass.
Yeah.
Liam swing a punch like a loser. I saw Oasis instead of going to my college graduation.
That's a great story, Mass. That's a good one. I like that.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm more inclined than going overseas. I'm more inclined to just start a cover band to play 4 Oasis shows here.
Yeah.
On the 4 nights that they
in London, Ontario.
Yeah, or whatever. Just to get into it for a month or whatever and have a really good time. I've often thought about it in a 10-song set of Oasis cover songs would be.
Sure.
Other than having to play Wonderwall, I would really enjoy hammering those songs out. But anyway, I digress to other nerd things. Fan Expo, yes, tons of fun, crazy costumes, a massive event in downtown Toronto, seeing lots of great creators from all over the place. Obviously North American creators for the most part. And I had a thread and I think I lost it, and that's totally okay. Oh, X-Men news. Did y'all see the clip, the deleted scene or the bonus scene that leaked online today, I think, of Gambit in the Deadpool Wolverine movie?
I did.
So we're spoilers. You ready for a little Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler? There was an extra scene deleted where you can clearly see it's Gambit walking away from the camera in the aftermath of the fight. So this is a scene at the end of the movie, and this scene was included in the movie. Of course, it was just on one of the monitors as the character. So
he's survived Eliath.
He has survived Eliath and the events at the end of the movie, and he turns around and there's the glow of one of those Doctor Strange sling ring portals, and he has a grin on his face as the camera zooms in. So Allie is like, "Did I see it? Yes." About 437 times. The sling ring glow. Yes, Ali. I think of y'all out there who are such big fans and who want to see more of that. And so, hopefully there's a payoff to this that Kevin Feige and the team at large want to include
And
Channing Tatum in some way down the road. I mean, come on.
Allie, I will 100% shout you out for that request, Talk Tonight, which is the B-side. And that was 100%. I played that in my high school band as part of our set. We played Talk Tonight.
Right. I think that's the only B-side of theirs I know.
Yeah.
Did I? Maybe I got it.
Acquiesce?
I recorded that one on cassette.
What's that?
Acquiescence?
Acquiesce. No, I think it's just Acquiesce, isn't it?
I think it's Acquiescence. But anyway.
That's a B-side.
I move around. Hello there, toying around. I did not see you at Fan Expo. Were you there? If so, did you have a good time, Chris? Kevin? I hope you had fun. I thought of you many times, but I did not see you. Talk Tonight is the only B-side that I acquired a copy of through illegal means because I was I thought it was a great song. It was a good one.
It's classic.
Yeah. And welcome to Oasis Talk with Jason and Chris. Yeah. Thanks, Jack.
The spin-off show. This is the spin-off. Every Wednesday night, we're going to talk about Oasis.
Something of note that happened in the world, along with, of course, the Gambit thing. Did you also see another X-Men thing in movies? Yeah. Chris, did you watch the D23, the Disney
I'm
big
aware.
conference thing? There was a different trailer, a longer trailer released for Captain America 4 New World Order.
So
did you see it?
No. Is it official? Did it leak online?
No. It's someone's handheld version of it.
Right.
So, but I will say it's good enough to watch. The reason I bring it up, again, spoilers, everybody. So if you don't want to know about Brave New World, Captain America 4, I don't know, press mute or just put your hand over my face like everyone else I know
or
does.
Put some Oasis on in the background, Just
yes, that. Exactly. Good idea. Put some Oasis on. So there's reference to the Celestial that emerges from the Earth's core at the bottom of the ocean.
In Eternals.
In Eternals. President Thunderbolt Ross, played by my favorite actor of all time, Harrison
President
Ford.
Indiana Jones.
Love that guy. President Indiana Jones. He is giving like that speech we see him give where we know Elijah takes a shot at him at some point. So earlier in the speech, he's talking about the Celestial and how it has become like a place of conflict, but it should be a place of like where it should bring all of us together. Everyone should have access because people are mining it for resources.
Interesting.
And he says the resource that they've mined from this Celestial is called adamantium.
Okay, then.
So there you go.
Okay.
So whatever that's worth.
Huh.
So I wonder if we'll get like a Wolverine origin in the MCU. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
And like we'll see him introduced because it'll happen, in like that Weapon X program will happen within the MCU first. Like,
right.
And then we'll see the consequences of this in 20 years where it's like, well, what happens if you start Wolverine at like that point in his narrative as opposed to starting him maybe where the comics or already as a hero or whatever.
He's already lived a few lives. Sure.
Yeah. It should be interesting to find out. So yeah, some interesting kind of X-Men universe movie stuff going on there.
Interesting. I did like that. I had definitely a laugh, an enjoyable laugh when I saw that Channing Tatum Gambit thing.
Yeah.
Because as we spoke on this very show, I think that was the best 20-minute Gambit movie you would ever ask for.
Oh shit! Yes, it
yeah,
that's pretty special. I mean, his scene.
Phase 7, Alpha Flight,
all Alpha Flight.
It's just going to be solo movies.
All right, let's get into this bad boy. Let's talk for a minute about it before we go too much further. So we got this comic, Lights, Camera, Moider, and we get to see artist or penciler June Brigman get introduced to these comics. Those of us who know her from Power Pack, most likely she is the co-creator along with Louise Simonson. They're the writer penciler combo. Terry Austin inks this cover. And interiors today are going to be from Whilce Portacio, another artist of note that a lot of us love. And, June Brigman, X-Men vibe. I don't get that vibe when I look at her work, but it's amazing to see. I think this is the first woman to ever pencil an X-Men comic.
Really?
And, well, you've read all the way from 94 till now. So
true.
Has there been another woman pencil? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And before that, I don't believe there was either. But just it seems like that's kind of amazing. That of course, it took that long, but there weren't a lot of women pencilers in the industry. And that idea that there is going to be like a woman team up of writer penciler in Power Pack, that's like, to me, if you look at the landscape of mainstream comics in the US at the time, that's a big deal. Right. I mean, that's a big deal.
Can I make a connection? Oh, no, sorry, you finished.
Go ahead. No, please.
Can I make a connection? So also just a fun little connection to this show and one of our friends, one of our previous guests, Jason Lowe, who just has a story in the latest Iron Fist 50th that is penciled by Whilce Portacio.
Yes.
Please. So there you go. Little connection there. It's kind of neat.
That is cool.
Yeah.
This cover, you can see like those red lines there. Do you see the sunset?
Yeah.
Those are called, in this speak, they're called color hold. So that is a way to indicate that you want the colorist to make the colors do the work without having the lines there. And I will tell you, I'm looking at the printed copy up close. Those red lines are still there. They're there in some form. Whereas it says, there's a note on the side that says, drop out red holding lines. But no, the red lines are there in some form. This piece was for sale. And as you can see that piece of masking tape along the top, it is holding on an acetate sheet that has the logo and the corner box graphic pieces on that. So those pieces are no longer stuck to the art. They're now on top. So if I do this, that is what the art looks like without them.
Right.
And that is what the art looks like with the acetate sheet down.
Gotcha.
It's kind of nice that they were able to keep those pieces even when they want to fall off. But anyway, now additionally, the X-Men Classic version is from, I'd say he's like a really exciting artist named Jay Lee, who has been at a couple of the recent Toronto Comic-Cons, dropped out of Fan Expo this weekend, was supposed to come. But like, what a moody, amazing art piece.
I dig that.
Jay just throws down so much ink. He really reminds me of like coming out of that Bill Sienkiewicz school of moody, painterly ink work. And, throwing white media to like those blue rain lines on the front coif of that mysterious villain in the sky who I know to be it's
Arcade.
Neat to see. Like, it's a really interesting cover. Just the coloring from this time period is always I don't know, a little overdone, but what a really interesting and different artist to see working on those covers. But neat one from Jay Lee.
And always too, just because it's such a thing, such a point is Two Towers, right? Twin Towers always right there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
when we see them in pop culture pieces, it's just kind of hard to not comment on it or to move off.
Right.
Yeah,
you're right. Mass says his early X-Book stuff was like that, but seeing his work on the Dark Tower books onward really evolved into some amazing work.
Jay Lee?
Yeah. I don't know his stuff from Dark Tower. I only know the bits and pieces I've seen. I don't think I've ever collected or read any of his stuff, but I come across it a lot visually, obviously, like the internet and whatever. And the Kayfabe guys did a few Jay Lee issues, and he seems fast and inspired. Ali adds, Jay Lee did some really memorable Wildcat stuff. Yeah, I missed all of it. I missed all that Image, Generation 1 Image stuff, unfortunately. But, that all being said, let's get into it.
Here we go. Lights, camera.
Ready to do this, Chris?
Oh, yes, I am.
There's lots to talk about, so
lots to talk about.
A lot of reading.
Including a corner box with so many heads.
Yes, who are not in this comic.
Who are not presently in this film. Sir, not appearing in this film. Okay. Here we go. You ready to dive in?
Yeah, man, I'm in.
My apologies.
It's okay. Stan Lee presents Whatever Happened to Nightcrawler, starring Nightcrawler of the Uncanny X-Men. And here's that super moody cover that Jay Lee did, just from a different point of view. And
imagine get like the original art for this splash page.
Yeah, I think it would be neat, but I do think that the colorist doesn't do her any favors because there are buildings in the background. I can see them at the bottom. There are like those structures.
Yes, you're right.
But it could have used a different color to delineate between what's just like the depth of the rain and the things that are right behind the rain.
Right.
So it would add a little more 3 to the D than just this. She often, and we'll see throughout the issue, she doesn't throw a lot of ink spotting other than the deep shadow on Nightcrawler here. There are a lot of scenes that look pretty open that seem odd for an X-Men book. And sometimes it works fine, and other times it seems out of place to not throw a little bit more on. But this is also like she's rendering Nightcrawler's costume in blue with black shadow as opposed to a black costume with blue highlight.
All right.
So he seems different than on brand. To me, he's not on model for this whole issue, but your taste may vary.
Mm-hmm.
New York City.
That's not how you say it. New York City. Sorry.
Kurt? He never came to bed. Has he been out on that balcony all night?
Amanda, is it morning already? How time flies when you're having fun.
With that thought, Kurt Wagner teleports to the bathroom.
It wouldn't do at all to drip on my lady love's carpet. So first I'll dry myself off. Not the most orthodox of methods. But then I'm not the most orthodox of men.
I know.
Surprised you didn't do that.
I was picturing my dogs doing this.
Yeah.
I read this issue.
Or your friend Jason.
Guten Morgen, Liebchen. And how is this fine and beautiful day?
I have to work. An overseas flight. I'll be gone a week. But I'll cancel it, Kurt. If you'd rather I stay.
Not necessary.
Isn't it a little early for that?
For you, perhaps. For me, it's just what the doctor ordered.
The X-Men telephoned. They'll be home soon from San Francisco.
So?
They were worried about you, Nightcrawler. They're glad you're okay.
Bully for them. You know, Amanda, lately I find myself thinking more and more of the pan-dimensional adventure I had last year. That was the life. Fantastic worlds, damsels in distress, vile villains, and yours truly as a hero who saves the day. Into my arms, my proud beauty. I'll show you how I won the heart of the Gina of Sabri, of Bellamy Amora. Why can't life be like that all the time? What's the mood? Neither am I, really. Then, Amanda, so long ago it seems like ancient history. Being an X-Man was fun. We are mutants, outcasts from human society because of the powers we were born with. But our hearts were light. So now everything is grim, the joys, the romance, the innocence are gone.
Why, Kurt? What changed?
You wouldn't understand.
How can I? If you won't talk to me. Nightcrawler, I love you. Please, I beg you, let me help.
Thanks to Beyonder, all the things that had meaning for me, that gave my existence purpose, are taught, dead, destroyed. I don't know who I am anymore, Amanda, or even why I am. There, my darling, now you know. Help me with that.
That's not nice.
It's not nice. And he mentions the Nightcrawler miniseries.
Yes, we didn't read it because it wasn't written by Claremont.
Okay. Do you know much about it?
I had the first issue as a kid.
Okay.
I had since traded it, I believe, when I was little.
Uh-huh.
And it was an interdimensional or pan-dimensional romp done by Dave Cockrum.
Okay.
And it was just like no stakes, crazy flying pirate ships. When I was reading it, I was already seeing both John Byrne and Arthur Adams' artwork,
Okay.
and seeing sort of like a diminishing Dave Cockrum was not interesting for my 11-year-old taste or 10-year-old taste. Okay. So I didn't ever get issues 2, 3, and 4 as a kid. And so, no, I have not read any further. But the very fact that it's not often talked about or requested is an indication to me that it doesn't resonate,
Right.
It didn't leave that big a ripple.
Now, one thing you did mention to me, X-Men 97 related, was when Nightcrawler shows up on the team and they have his name, that font, is that the font from the series?
Yeah, so he does. Yeah, he does get a logo.
Okay. Let's
just clarify the difference between a font and a logo.
Sure.
A logo is a graphic and a font is a typeset.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a fixed logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. David Cutler says, "Hey there, Exy boys." Hey, David Cutler.
Dave.
Who I saw for a mere second at Fan Expo over the weekend. I hope you had a fantastic Fan Expo, David. And I hope you made all the money. I got to see a little bit of the art you posted, and it was delicious and adorable. And Chris, you have a little story for David, I think.
Yeah, I mean, or for the group, David already knows this story, but fun development. On the Sunday at Fan Expo, my 13-year-old, was walking around and checking things out, and stopped by Mr. Cutler's table. Does not know David, but stopped by, and I think you had a print there of a Deadpool. Harry had seen the Deadpool Wolverine movie, and so was looking at Deadpool. And David, being the nice guy that he is, not knowing that Harry was my son, gifted his print to just some kid walking around Fan Expo. And so when he came back and showed me, I said, "That's so cool." And then I looked at the signature and went, "That's not cool at all." But yeah, how random is that? I think it's obviously meant to be. So David, thanks again. He loves it. Really appreciate
it. David says, "Y'all don't leave your tables." This is true. Yeah. Thursday through Saturday, I was doing Fan Expo on my own, and there was, a lot of books and merch on our table. And I take the Todd McFarlane approach, where you go there and you do as much as you can while you're there. You don't eat, you don't pee, and and then usually by about 4:00, I collapse and wet myself. But no, I didn't leave my table at all for the first 3 days. And then on day 4, I left in the morning to pick up some gifts for cousin Jer. And I think I left again to maybe track down George at some point. But other than that, I think I was there the whole time. Maybe.
I think you were.
I like working the table.
You do.
David says, "It was the last print and it had a little dent in it. Wasn't going to take $10 from a kid." Yeah, you should have taken 20.
I was going to say, you should have jacked it up. I know he did tell that story to his mom when he got home, and he was still quite proud and pleased with the outcome. So thanks again.
So David, if it was the last one that you had, that means you sold out of that, and that's probably a great thing. So congrats on getting rid of some of your merch by Sunday.
Congrats on making kids happy, Dave. Congrats on making kids happy.
It's a good thing. Kurt, you and the X-Men have encountered beings of incredible power before. What made this Beyonder so different?
What makes a sun different from a match flame? I asked myself, was this God or Satan incarnate? But worst of all, neither. That's only part of it, so. What truly hurts is that when he summons the X-Men to do battle with him, he left me behind for some reason. Perhaps because I was not worthy. I was to be spared, and I was glad. I should have followed, but I didn't. I was afraid. I never was before, but this time.
Kurt.
I don't know what's real anymore. When a potion or a power or a being can change my mind, my body, even the concept of reality itself. You're a sorcerer, Amanda. Do I truly love you? Or did you use some spell to make me?
If you have to ask Nightcrawler, you needn't worry about loving me or anybody. So just to talk about her art before you go further, like the one when she reaches out, the drawing where she reaches out for Kurt, that's a beautiful, like exact, really good, like hand gesture, body language, and her lifting the suitcase is just beautiful. You feel the weight of it. Like there's a real yoink to that.
There is. Yeah.
So like there are these moments where she does these really beautiful kind of human poses. I don't know how beautiful the page as a whole looks. Like when I look at the page itself as a single piece of art, Claremont is piling a lot of words and it's not going to stop. But then, for instance, this panel on the outside where she slams the door, why is everything that blue? Like, is blue the color of the brick? Is blue the color of a sheet of water? Maybe it would have served to cover that whole wall in black and have the door within the door frame be like the thing that's illuminated and Kurt outside. I'm not sure. I just find like there aren't a lot of heavy shadows that can be used to help understand and guide the eye a little better. Like in that one where she's slamming the door, the boldest thing on that page is Kurt in the bottom right corner. Right. And we should be focused on this action of the door slam. But if you black out like that wall around on the exterior wall on the balcony, it would really help direct the eye to where it should be. The way she does, like in the panel before, just having that black graphic triangle shape, it focuses the eye. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's used and sometimes it's not, and I don't know. Anyway, but I do love those two panels. Your figures of Amanda are great.
Yeah. Why did I say that? What a fool. Was it that I wished to test Amanda's feelings by hurting her? As much as I myself feel hurt? Could I be so selfish? So cruel? Should I go after her? There's still time. I can teleport to the street or race down the wall of the building.
I'm looking at all those prizes.
Oh, sure.
Cash. Unbelievable. Oof. But the young X-Men doesn't move. Instead, he lifts his face to the heavens and...
Ow!
It seems out of character.
It does seem out of character.
Nightcrawler? He sounds like a lost soul. My moment of truth. He's in such pain. Do I go back and risk being rejected? Hurt again? Kennedy Airport, please.
Sure thing. Hey, miss, you're soaked.
It's raining.
Yeah, but,
Would you hurry, driver? I've a flight to catch.
You're paying the fare. Hey, look at that. Weather ain't fit for man nor beast. Them crazy joggers gotta run their miles.
That's also a strange like way to introduce that character. Just giant red ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at, year one, as I always do.
Sure.
And, Mazzucchelli's drawing the inside of a police car.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally all black. There's no reason for us to see the roof, the handles, anything in this vehicle. If you black those things out, it's what's on the outside that catches our eye, as well as the figures that we can see. So it's like there's no reason to throw down that lavender, like that purple gray. I don't know. It's a choice. I think it would benefit from having more ink thrown down. By the way, I love how that cab driver has his cigarettes.
Oh yeah,
tucked in his sleeve.
Yep.
Do you remember that show, One Day at a Time?
I think so.
It's a sitcom from this time period, and this guy always the handyman from the apartment building. His name was Schneider, and for a long time I thought Schneider was a first name.
Right.
And so at school, we often, when people acted a certain way, we often called them Schneider. Michael's like, yeah, Schneider. So that cigarette in the sleeve is such a thing from that moment. Anyway. Oh, David adds, did you guys ever get sucked in by those door-to-door sales leadership things? I did. Earned no prizes, no cash. No, David, I did not. Sorry, dude. Did you, Chris?
No, the closest I got was collecting Posco Pete points.
Nice.
Eating popsicles, because a similar thing, collect 80,000 million and get a bike. I never got quite close to that.
Ali says, I always wanted to, but my mom was like, no, you're too busy with insert list of activities. So thank goodness for mom's overbooking. Yeah, good job. The figure work is strangely advanced compared to the Fudge's perspective. Portacio doesn't know how to place his horizons yet, but the body language is cool? You know what that
Bright.
sunglasses means cool? I don't know. I agree. The figure work is lovely.
Body language is skibbity?
It's nice. It's nice seeing a different hand doing things differently.
Sure. Takes all kinds, you know. Why, once I seen...
You got what you wanted, my love, to be alone. I hope it's worth the price. What the heck is that? Wolves? In Manhattan? Terrific. Hey, there's a lot of references to this big white truck. Chris, have you seen this big white truck before?
I may have. Once or twice.
If you're ever looking for references for that kind of stretch before, you go jogging, and you're wearing leg warmers and short shorts, by the way, buddy, check out the 20-minute workout on YouTube.
Okay.
You should do that right now, actually. Everyone, you should all just change the channel.
I'm about to read 2 pages straight.
Go watch the 20-minute workout. It'll take you right back to my childhood. And
also
blossoming adolescence.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Huh? That noise, it can't be. So faint and far away, my ears must be playing tricks. But I'd better make sure. I'll roost up here in the branches, where my indigo skin should be virtually impossible to spot amongst these shadows. Nothing unusual to see, except that garbage truck. Zoom to fell. At the view, that's Chambers, chief assistant to the madcat murderer for hire arcade. This truck is the means they use to grab their victims. The cleaning sound?
No, it's not a word. It's an onomatopoeia. It's
splaining. Splaining sound must mean one's already been taken. I can't go to the police as my looks. They'd probably arrest me or open fire on sight. I can't go to the legitimate superhero groups. By the time I establish my bona fides, it'd be too late. There's nobody but me to go to the rescue.
He's wrong. He could have gone to illegitimate superhero groups.
That's right.
Secondly,
the Morlocks.
Instead of this panel where he's on the perch and he sees an explosion with the sound effect with it, like that, this is such bad cartooning. I mean, maybe you have her, jogging and the truck is falling. The last panel on that page should be her looking back as the maw. Like that giant thing comes down on top and grabs her.
Right.
Remember how the top of it splings down?
Yeah. And that's how
it should be her looking back over her shoulder as the blackness is coming at her. And then the panel, when you turn the page, is the sound effect with Kurt's reaction. But
Splaining.
Yeah, come on, man. Anyway.
It shoots me just fine. It seemed like some action to take one's mind off one's troubles. Who knows, if I play the hero hard enough, maybe I can make them all go away.
The garbage truck makes its way uptown to the North Bronx.
The last 2 times the X-Men tangled with Arcade, we anomalously reported him and his complex to the police, yet their searchers found no evidence of Murderver's existence. This access hatch leads to his hidden labyrinth. Perhaps an anonymous call to the Avengers might get better results. Would I be turning to them because it's a smart play, or because I'm afraid? Is that why I was no good as the X-Men's leader? Why the Beyonder left me behind when he took the others? Because in my heart of hearts, my secret soul, I'm a coward? No. I'm a hero, and I mean to prove it. It would not do, however, to end up a victim myself. I must be very careful. And remember everything the X-Men has ever learned from our battles here, especially Colossus and Shadowcat's visit a few months ago, since Arcade gave them a guided tour of the primary complex. I have to bypass the alarms. My fingers are not cut out for such delicate work.
Wait, isn't he the medic?
Isn't he the medic and the Blackbird engineer? You know what?
There are a few weird things in this one. I do like the idea of him going on a search for himself after, him, I guess, losing by default the position of leader. You give him kind of a reason to doubt himself, maybe one failure, and like he needs to go on a quest to find his hero-ness.
Right.
And spoilers, that is what Claremont was planning to do. Claremont and Ascenti had planned a Nightcrawler origin mini story set within probably within X-Men, I guess, over the next few issues, and it just didn't work out. Imagine the Wolverine limited series, told, but instead it's a Nightcrawler one, right? They can't just do another 4 Nightcrawler issues. It's going to be within X-Men, but they mean to now tell his origin, the mysteriousness of that whole origin thing. And they mean to put him on his own hero's journey. So he's had his sort of fall, and this is going to be his mission of discovery, and it's all supposed to start with him rescuing, or whatever, dealing with Arcade and rescuing, and it just doesn't come together as a piece of narrative. And boy, is Claremont ever overwriting, because it's so unclear as to what is actually going on. Like, we don't see Nightcrawler ever really follow the truck. This might have been one of those opportunities for that really fun idea of like having not necessarily exactly a map, but a diagram or an image that has the truck moving and Nightcrawler teleporting in different spots to keep up with it on the building tops.
Yes.
Something playful. And even what about him going down this tube in like a little bit more of an interesting way? I don't know. It just seems like almost like when Claremont gets this issue back, he has to overwrite because it doesn't feel like there's enough in the art to tell story. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Or he's compulsive.
Maybe, yeah.
Or both.
Perfect. All those hours spent maintaining our supersonic jet aircraft have paid off splendidly. I may not be in Shadowcat's class in electronics wizardry, but when the chips are down, I get the job done. I adjusted the security sensors to make me effectively invisible. Now I can move anywhere within Murder World without Arcade knowing until he actually sees me. This is his main workshop and beyond the storeroom for his robots. I love to play around in here. I bet I could use these robots. But I'd rather see what's going on in there. From the sound
of where are the robots again?
Where's there? Right.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
From the sound and look of things, Arcade's begun his game. I can only pray that whoever he's after possesses all the courage in the world, even more luck. They're going to need it. At least until I arrive to save the day.
Zhang. What was the noise even? What did the noise even mean?
Right.
I don't have no idea what made that noise. I really don't.
Idea what made the noise. No.
Oh.
That wooziness will pass, honey. It's a side effect of the knockout gas used when you were nabbed.
Who? What?
Welcome to Murder World, sweetheart. I'm Arcade. I hope you enjoy these last minutes of your life.
This can't be real. I'm dreaming.
You wish. The rules are simple. Find the exit and you're free. Too bad for you, that's a lot easier said than done.
Why are you doing this?
For the money, babe. And the fun. Though I doubt you'll provide very much of that.
Please, there's been some mistake. I'm a college student. I'm nobody important.
Oh, breaks my heart, kid. But someone somewhere wants you dead. And they're paying yours truly big bucks to do the job.
You can't do this. Murder World is ready, Arcade.
Thank you, Miss Locke.
By the way, why isn't she on the monitor? You know what I mean? She's talking back. She should be on the monitor. The way he's a hologram or whatever that is, floating head to her, she should be in his room talking back to him.
In his visual, yeah.
For those who have not heard, your performance of Arcade before, Chris. Do you want to just, for 1 second, give them your inspiration or your background as to that choice?
Sure.
Which is a great choice, by the way.
It's probably going to drift, and so I apologize since we're not professional voice actors. But we do find out in the first time that Arcade is introduced that he's a bit of a California, let's just say California elite or from an elite family. And so I've kind of gone with a bit of California beach bum with some Matthew McConaughey thrown in there for good measure. So we'll see how it goes.
And here again, these feminine figures that June Brigman is throwing together are gorgeous. Like her character work is, even Arcade looking over his shoulder at Ms. Locke, like, just great. Really, really nice looking stuff.
Totally.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. All right.
Here we go. Ready or not, darling. You're on your way.
I'm in a transparent plastic ball. Ow! Being fired into a giant pinball machine. Whenever I hit a bumper, I get a shock. I'm going to die. I don't want to die. I'm going to... Ow! Rolling and bouncing, making me sick. The ball's flying off the board. Is it over?
Yawn, what a pathetic score. She won't last long. Game's hardly worth the effort or its commission. Do me a favor, Miss Locke. Dull, dull, dull. And wake me when it's over.
Kabash! Now what? Those two things should be reversed, by the way. Right. The crash should be first, and then she says, now what? Because it's a different thing, right? Like, we see the crash. We read the effect of the pinball breaking into pieces, and we get the sound effect after we've already, because we're reading left to right. Like, it's... I'm still alive. I guess the game's not finished. Lucky me. Where the heck am I? A forest? Nothing like this anywhere near New York. Brr. Must be in the mountains. The air is way too cool for summer, even at night. What's that noise? Ow. Wolf howls? Like I heard in Central Park. Terrific. Feet, do your stuff. That's the spirit, Red. Make stupid jokes, so you won't start screaming. Which way do I run? Where should I go? Does it matter? So long as it's away from them. At least there's a full moon. With its light, I can see. Don't be scared. That's what Arcade wants. That's what he's got. Just relax. Pretend this is another cross-country marathon. I'm making good speed, but the hunters are gaining. I'm out of the forest. I've got to sprint for all I'm worth. Make it across this field before the hounds clear the tree line. Cavalry? 19th century European hussars? Hussars?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, how do you pronounce that?
Hussars. You got it.
Hussars, okay.
There's our prey, men. Draw sabers and charge!
What I wouldn't give for this to be a hallucination. Why is this happening? What did I ever do to anyone to make them want to go to so much trouble to get rid of them? Yikes! Like, her poses are really good for this Red character.
Right.
I'm digging them. But see how there's very little line work or ink spotting? I mean, yes, on the inside leg of that one horse, but the rest of the panel is basically bare. You know, there's no trees in that purple sky or whatever it is. There's like no other embellishments on the ground. Yeah. It's really sparse. Too many horsemen. I have to stay low. Keep moving. Turn the numbers against them. Maybe they'll run into each other instead. Oh, what a great time to trip. Got to. Like, it looks like she got sliced in the back.
She did.
on
Yeah,
that
that's
one.
what I took from that, right?
Got to keep rolling.
Tucks and rolls, tucks and rolls.
Horses won't stomp living animals on the ground in front of them. They'll usually leap over, I hope.
A lot of explanation. There's like
My gosh.
so much. I'm walking through this panel. Now I'm walking through this panel. Like it's a lot.
Was Arcade popular with readers, or was Claremont just trying to make fetch happen? Good question. I mean, I think he gets more popular later, truthfully. And especially once readers get a chance to like re-encounter him in classic X-Men, sort of kind of doubles up. It is good phrasing for sure to call it, to reference Mean Girls for sure. He's just so bad at his job. Yeah, he's the most ineffective assassin in all time, for all times, for sure. On my feet, I'm a dead duck. But if I can grab a mount and head for the hills, dream on, Red. But what have you got to lose? Hey, where'd he go? I'm falling through the animal like he doesn't exist. It must be a hologram, a three-dimensional projection. Ouch! This bluff is no illusion. How high is it, though? What's at the bottom? Water! Yeah, Claremont, you don't need to write water.
Yeah,
She's not
right,
yelling
exactly.
water,
Right.
Yeah. There is a lot about this that could be really fun as a comic and doing more visual storytelling, but I think he's probably overcompensating. The grade's too steep for the cavalry, but not the dogs. I can't stay here. I'll have to chance the river. That won't be easy either. The current looks pretty fierce, and there are logs flowing downstream. I don't dare swim. I'm sure to get brained. By the way, brained is when you hit your head so hard your brain goes dead.
Yeah.
We don't say that word very often.
We
Someone's
don't.
going to get brained. I'll have to try jumping from trunk to trunk.
You know what I thought now what this comic could use at this exact moment?
What's that?
A log driver's waltz. The log driver showed up.
Yeah, and I mean that's the most beautiful Canadian reference you could make.
There you go.
Yeah. So far, so good. Whoops! The bark's slippery as ice, and my wet sneaks aren't much better. Can't let the log spin as I land. Enough. What? I need a breather. Heart's beating a mile a minute. So high. Period. On adrenaline. Aw.
Oh.
It's making me giddy, but that rush won't last. Lousy, stinking, rotten game. I hate it. I better be on dry land when I crash, or yo! A shark. I did not see that coming. Did you?
No.
Impossible. They can't exist in fresh water. False. What am I saying? Arcade makes the rules. His game pieces can do whatever he says. Shore's too far away. I'll never reach it.
Needs a hand, Fräulein?
Poor shark.
Assassin. Never gets old. Oh, new player. Nightcrawler. What a delightfully unexpected surprise.
Is he not concerned that his security's been breached?
No, and this is why perhaps the question was raised. Is he probably the worst assassin?
And for all he knows, all the X-Men are there.
Right, exactly.
And Wolverine is about to sneak up behind him and put some claws in the back of his throat.
Right. Yeah. All of a sudden, this game has gotten a whole lot more interesting.
My apologies if you feel a bit ill. That's an unfortunate effect of teleporting. I was advised, are you all right? I'd have arrived sooner, but Murder World's a big place, and I didn't want to prematurely announce my presence to Arcade by tripping any alarms. I'm Nightcrawler, superhero extraordinaire. And your name?
Get away from me!
An odd name. Were your parents 60s rock stars?
I mean it, Buster. Take a drink, or I'll clobber you.
There's no need to be afraid. I'm here to help.
Yeah, right. Sure you are. Hey, by the way, did you think with the teleporting panel before that they're in the sky?
It looks like they're pretty high up,
Yeah, I'm
as
not
opposed
sure
to
why
on
I
the
think
edge of a
that.
cliff or edge of a
Or
water bank.
yeah, it reads weird. It reads weird.
Yeah, it does.
You could be one of Arcade's robots or some goon.
I concede I certainly looks apart, but appearances can be deceiving.
That's right. In this place, I've got no idea what's real and what isn't. So why should I trust anything you say?
Virtually my words to Amanda thrown back in my face. No reason, Fraulein, save that on your own you'll almost certainly perish. With me, the two of us working together, you have a chance.
Words are easy.
Give me a chance to prove them then.
Oh, okay. A desert stretching to the horizon. I don't believe it.
As you said yourself, some of Murder World is veiled, some illusion. You've no way of knowing which until it kills you.
Terrific. What's that cloud?
Company. Hold that pose, Goblin. And it'll be Anti-Arcade's personal pleasure to release you and the lady from this aching world of pain and suffering. Now I ask y'all, ain't I the host with the most?
Arcade just became the most interesting villain in Marvel history in that one panel.
In that one piece. Anti-Arcade. Where's the Marvel legend for that?
I actually have pieces to make most of that.
There you go. It's great. Our cue, Fraulein, for a very fast exit.
But this cover is provided by Arcade. It could be booby-trapped.
A risk we'll have to take. Besides, if he wanted to, Arcade could kill us anytime with ease. I fought him before. To him, the game's a sin. Give him a good enough match, and he may even let you go.
They're shooting at us!
Hold tight. Things are likely to get a lot rougher before we're through. Faster, Claude. Move in closer. This is what I've missed. To dance along the edge of disaster with only my wits and skills to save me. To face foes who are larger than life, deadly as sin, but who can still be bested.
We're surrounded.
Is it so wrong to want to accomplish something tangible? Lately, the X-Men seem to have been battling shadows in a sort of grim, ferocious trench warfare where the most fearful sacrifices don't do a blessed bit of good. Invariably, we lose as much as we gain. If not more. All right, Buggy, let's see what you're really made of.
See what I mean about his rendering? Like, he is blue. He's not black.
Right.
His costume.
Right.
Yeah. Yay! Hooray! Eat us, creeps. You'll never catch us now.
That's more like it. Not on the ground.
All right.
Because I'm sure Arcade will think of something.
Airplanes!
Yes, that's what is drawn in this panel. Airplanes. Told you. Open cockpit biplanes. World War I vintage. Fraulein, can you drive?
I was born and raised in Manhattan. I never learned.
Well, here's your chance. Surprise, Herr Ritzmeister. Phew, I'm a solid wing. I figured I had a better than even chance of teleporting onto a hologram. Whoops, the pilot's throwing his plane into a loop, trying to pitch me off. You'll have to do better than that, robot. With my articulate toes and prehensile tail, I can cling to virtually any surface.
Okay, before you go further, beside this ad here, at last, the second spectacular G.I. Joe yearbook, 64 pages of nonstop, all-out action. You get behind-the-scenes details on the G.I. Joe TV series, a pictorial update on the entire G.I. Joe saga, plus a never-before-published adventure by Larry Hama and Michael fucking Golden, featuring the Joes versus Cobra and the October Guard. Spoilers. Only $1.50. It's so sad almost that this amazing picture of Ripcord, Roadblock, Torpedo, Lady J, and Snake Eyes and Timber is reprinted so small because it is an unbelievably great drawing.
Yeah.
And I will say there is not called an artist edition, but I think it's called maybe a artist portfolio from IDW of the original art from this yearbook story, including that image at full size. It's been reproduced, and they're all loose pages. Like, it's not even bound. It's like a folder with all the loose pages in it, and I'm so grateful. I acquired a copy during the early stages of the pandemic. It is the coolest thing I've ever seen. This picture is the kind of image that every kid was redrawing, and guys like Liefeld were stealing from, on their best day. Anyway, it's such a perfect story too. It's great. Moving on. I love G.I. Joe a little bit. I'm not sure if you knew that.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Act 9. To get at me, the fool unbuckled his seatbelt. Thank heaven he's only a robot in murder world. Only the targets bleed. Only Arcade's victims really die. I keep forgetting what's at stake. My life and the girl's. I don't even know her name.
Nightcrawler, behind you! Look out! Sorry, look out behind you!
Zoom to fell out of one frying pan into another. Even if we escape this death trap, Arcade will merely conjure another from the security of the control booth. I need some means to get at him. There's this whole complex out of action. Anti-Arcade's robots have increased their speed. They're gaining on the girl. Pay attention, assassin. Assassin, watch closely. I show you some real fly. Got to play this loop just right. Mustn't black out or let my engine stall. Perfect. Oh dear.
Ha! I love how he's shaking his fist at him. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, you shake your fist harder, boy.
My foe is crushed right where I wanted him to, into the heart of Arcade's. What's that? Mob. The sky. It seems it's still a killer, but not quite of us all.
Are you going to land, Nightcrawler? I'll try to stop. Or will you teleport back down?
Neither. Keep going straight. You should be all right. Be seeing you, Fraulein. It's been real.
But were you... Nightcrawler, how could you run out on me? I just begun to believe, to hope. But maybe that was what Arcade wanted. Maybe you worked for him all along. I never even told you my name.
Poor little darling, deserted by her knight in shining armor. Her heart must be broke all to bits.
Such obvious cowardice is unlike Nightcrawler. It could be a deception.
Whatever it is won't matter. Beans, Miss Locke. Once you found and killed him.
It's night, and I've reached a city. Great timing. This jalopy's out of gas. Like, how much room was there in Murder World for for airplanes?
And hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, no real sense of scale. I know Murder World is
If I think that's why the upgrade to Mojo works so much better.
Right.
Like, to me, Mojo is an iteration almost of like this arcade premise. You know what I mean? Like this absurd watching assassin manipulative sociopath who has like this world that puts the characters through their paces. But with Mojo, it's interdimensional, and so it seems to make sense. This just is just bonkers.
It totally is.
Terrific. A real friendly looking place. Racist. Full of friendly looking people. So now what? Keep moving, I guess. Stopping's the same as giving up. I'll probably die either way. But I won't give Arcade the satisfaction of seeing me quit.
Interested in a place to hide, my dear? I can offer a sort of sanctuary, an escape.
That's me.
Only a Sanagan, as I am. But you can choose to make it reality. This isn't so bad a life, really, to spend your days giving and receiving pleasure without care or responsibility or fear.
Hold on, giving and receiving pleasure? What?
As a robot.
No.
Are you one of those who consider my offer a fate worse than death. Such a pity.
Hey, those people weren't friendly after all.
Not at all.
Cues
Look
of
at that,
fanfare.
a butcher's knife. Look at that thing.
I know, right?
Cues of fanfare as the hero makes his dramatic and timely entrance.
Nightcrawler.
Who else? O ye of little faith, did you think I'd abandoned you? Back off, you brawny, brutal, backstabbing bozos. This young lady is under my protection.
Well, that doesn't count for much, Fuzzball. Neither you nor your honey are getting out of Murder World.
Want to bet, bad guy?
Nightcrawler, this isn't funny.
Quite the contrary, Fraulein. It's a riot. By the way, Arcade, you should use this holographic projection more often. You look so marvelous in fuchsia. Love to chat, but we have to run. Watch out for that puddle. Ach, heavens, how rude, how clumsy of me. So dreadfully sorry. Toodles.
You're crazy, mister. How is making Arcade mad going to do us any good?
You got that right, Toots. X-Men has a red now. Your history.
Promises, promises. What the? Colossus? Where'd he come from?
My adamantium claws will take care of Arcade's computer storm. As my lightning bolt shall shall of his?
Control.
I think it's shall off his? I'm
Mm.
not sure. As my lightning bolt shall of his control console Wolverine.
Hey, wait a minute. I thought Storm lost her elemental power. Wow! Seems to me, sugar, like you've been misinformed. Your toys are all broken, Arcade, honey.
There's Murder World out of action.
Our elf buddy will have no trouble scooting with the lady. Game, set, and match. Assassin to Nightcrawler.
How in the blazes did you muties get inside without triggering any alarms? You couldn't have snuck in with Nightcrawler. Helped him sooner. How come none of you look... Oh, of course. You were here already because you ain't the real X-Men at all. You're my robot versions of them. The stiff nailed me with my own pieces. He really and truly beat me at my own game. This time.
Later on the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
From previous encounters with Arcade, I knew where he stored his robots. After I left you, I made my way there. Modified the programming on as many of them as possible and turned them loose. I couldn't tell you because there's too much risk of Arcade overhearing. I'd give everything to have seen the look on Arcade's face when they burst in. I bet it was priceless.
I'll bet it was. You really loved it. That whole mess?
Most fun I've had in ages. Judas, that's the life we heroes lead.
Sorry, who?
Right.
A thrill a minute, huh? The wilder the better?
Why are you so angry?
Because I'm scared. Because I nearly died in the crossfire you seem to take for granted.
You're safe now. I don't think he'll come after you again. And if he does, call me.
That isn't the point. Listen to yourself, Nightcrawler. You're just like him, hooked on the excitement. The way you talk, if creeps like Arcade didn't exist, you'd have to invent him just to give your life purpose. Is that true? Is that all you are?
What I am, Fraulein, is a man who risked his life to save yours, and may yet do so again.
Who the heck are you guys? How'd you get inside my apartment?
There's no need for alarm, miss. Your super let us in. I'm calling Lewis, State Department.
And I am Colonel Max Reiger of the Ruritanian National Guard. Thank heaven we arrived in time to find you alive and unharmed. Your most serene and royal majesty, Judith Rassendil of the Elfbergs, Queen of Ruritania. Next, the exact opposite comic to this one.
Right.
The Wounded Wolf by Chris Claremont and Barry Windsor Smith. Holy smokes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to even go. Holy cow. David says, "Oh, that's so true about Arcade v Mojo. Arcade, I hope this caper doesn't awaken something in me." Allie adds, "The holiday card signed by everyone in the bullpen would have taken me right out of the story as a kid. I would have spent way too much time trying to read all those names." And I did, Allie. I did. Many of them I know now better than I knew then, of course, because some experience, and I know also who worked in the office. I know more of those names that I didn't know as a kid. Cool to see those signatures, and a funny thing. I used to love reading the checklist, truthfully, and seeing how many of these things I owned at the time. Here, graphic novel, number 20, The Greenberg the Vampire. It's so strange to see that one there. So much to talk about.
So much.
Let's start with the obvious. Chris, did you enjoy this issue?
No, not so much. And I think it's because of the way that I think it's a total misread on Nightcrawler's character. A little bit of this, and maybe this has to go back, this aborted journey that may have happened, was going to be planned to happen. It's okay, I think, to have him question, and I actually like him question everything in the aftermath of the Beyonder, right? Of like having this omnipotent presence do whatever he wants, right? And the idea of like, yeah, why was Nightcrawler left out, right? Like, okay, great. Question his faith, all that stuff. But to kind of be a bit of a thrill junkie on this, I don't think it really fits. And he's pretty callous throughout the whole thing, which is really not his character at all. Which again, we can, characters can obviously experience and go on tangents, but this one feels a bit too on the nose of some of this stuff, and so I don't think it really comes off great. I like the idea though of like using the X-Men robots again. Like it's a fun thing, and but I think we were all kind of agreeing that Arcade might be the worst assassin. The over explanation in the panels is ridiculous. Oh, look, water. That kind of stuff. Kind of treats us a little bit like kids, and those are kind of a few of my thoughts.
Yeah, but there are also many times where treating people like kids is not the same as like you said, over explaining.
Mm-hmm.
Some things are left to. By the way, I figured out how to read this panel with Storm, what she was trying to say, like with the word "of."
Oh, sure.
Something else. But anyway, there are times where you let the visual storytelling does part of it, but I think there just is obviously not the chemistry between this penciler and writer as a storytelling team, but there might not have just had also the time to put this together the way they wanted. I don't know if June Brigman was up to speed yet. I don't mean not good enough. I just mean that literally the speed of getting this issue done with enough time for revisions. Maybe she's I know she's from Atlanta, Georgia, I think. So maybe they're doing the FedEx thing, and Claremont isn't seeing this until later in the process. But it does not. There's not enough in the cartooning to do the storytelling part, and it's unfortunate. Right. Teach Pass says, "Great read, Jason Chris. This one was like a weak supplemental extra story from the X-Men Classic issues." Yeah. Although those extra supplemental stories were often really quite good, this one, especially with John Bolton on art duties, this one falls apart for reasons we don't really know. But there is some more to talk about in a minute. David says, "The unpowered assassination target made it through Murder World without a scratch." Yeah, brutal. Yeah. Brutal. She needed to have, some kind of edge or acquire something along the way to like give her a chance to succeed.
Really, yeah. I mean, her marathon powers are on full display, right? Her jogging prowess is on full display.
Yeah,
but mean, and also I don't know if this. I mean, the next issue, it's a different issue, obviously. But I mean, does this character come back?
Good question.
Is there?
Well, they've just discovered she's the queen of Ruritania.
Right.
And
the last of the elf bugs.
Yes, that's supposed to be something. So, by the way, this is a reference, like a couple of those.
And yet, but she was born and raised in Manhattan her entire life.
That's what she said.
Anyway.
Well, David says, why did I think this was early Whilce Portacio? Because Portacio's on Inks.
Yeah.
That's why. So he is part
of it. That's
this.
why, David.
Yeah, David. Come on, David. What a guy. Let's add this in here and continue for a minute. So, from supermegamonkey.net.
What is that?
That's another website.
Okay.
There's a comics continuity website. And every issue gets put in continuity order. And he writes there, Uncanny X-Men 204 had been advertised in Marvel Age, number 36, which is Marvel's internal trade magazine.
Right.
It's advertised like this. It's the start of an epic adventure that will take Nightcrawler from the wilds of Central Park to the backwoods of Europe. Whoa. Nightcrawler deals with his fears about the Beyonder, a love life that's falling apart, and the truth about himself and his origin.
Ooh,
so, is he going to be a cousin, a prince? Is he going to be... he's going to find out that he has this interesting past. I don't know. And then there's more that Claremont adds in a magazine called Comic Focus. We started to do his origin, and the story died on us. Damn right it did. We set up, we started it rolling, tried to hammer it into something of value, and it died. This happens. Once in a while, you'll run into a story that's a major dud, and it just will not fly, no matter how much air you pipe into the wings. So we rewrote the ending of the story.
You did?
What? Isn't that nuts?
That's totally nuts.
So they're trying to do something, and they're like, it's not working.
Yeah.
Because again, as we keep trying to explain, there just isn't time to fix things sometimes by going backwards. If, let's say, 12 pages are drawn, you're locked in. Yeah. Back then, there wasn't time to go fix it. It's a really fast deadline. So it's they got to just basically patch it up as they go and see what they can do. So Mass asks, was this before or after his limited series? This is after his limited series. So his limited series, I'm just going to put a label on it, if you don't mind. It's a little judgmental, but it's okay. It feels like the limited series is a bit of a Dave Cockrum vanity project. Like it's, Byrne took Nightcrawler this way. I never really got to do him my way. Editorial's giving me 4 issues to do what I want with the character that I feel I wholly created. The full visual and the name. So he does that, and that limited series has very little impact on
the
X-Men as a whole. Right. If memory serves, maybe Lockheed went with him. I can't remember. Okay. It's been a long time. Teach Pass says, Claremont hammered it dead with all that useless dialogue. I want the alternative universe Nightcrawler origin story. So, Nightcrawler's origin has been fleshed out by many writers over the decades. I'm curious to see if it had been allowed to go the way, now do that mirror, do the upbeat swashbuckling version of the Wolverine limited series from Claremont, and I don't know, let's pick one. Paul Smith, I'll even take Dave Cockrum, whoever, Art Adams, but just maybe there is that journey of discovery. His love life is hanging, and he has to kind of find himself and get back to remember who he is, and that's fine. It might have been great. It might have also, there was nothing there. Maybe the Nightcrawler really isn't. Maybe there isn't much more to him. There doesn't have to be layers. He can be a really good supporting character. Mm-hmm. Maybe he doesn't work as a lead character. He is that other he's that playful other voice on the team. I don't know. A thought.
It is. It's a good thought.
Yeah. I have a hunch I'm gonna push this next slide, and it's gonna be the ending. I kind of don't want it to be, but it's okay if it is. Are you okay if it is?
Yeah.
Oh. So next week is a big week, everybody, and I say big because the issue we're reading is a lot to look at. It is a legendary issue. I'm very excited about it. X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 205, Wounded Wolf is the return of Barry Windsor Smith. And it is a famous issue that has return of the Reavers. I guess it's the start of the Reavers we're going to see next week. And Lady Deathstrike. So it's all really cool, and I can't wait to see that. I'm going to actually take a look at my Alpha Flights in a minute to see if we need to talk about that first because the Lady Deathstrike, she appears in samurai armor, like Silver Samurai-esque armor in a few issues of Alpha Flight before that takes place, I believe. And so I'll take a look at that for a minute on my own. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you guys wait for that. As well, Dave Pretorius will be on with us next week. That would be great to have him back. Mm-hmm. I don't know which character he's going to read. I hope he does Wolverine. So that should be cool. What else? September 14th, of course, we'll be at the Guelph Comics Jam in beautiful Guelph, Ontario, hosted by The Dragon, one of the finest comic shops in the world. Can't wait to be there with a ton of excellent comic book makers. And it should be a really fun night afterward as well. I'm looking forward to that, Chris.
Looking forward to it.
You're clear for that night?
Yeah. Do you place a crash, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well then, let's make that happen.
It's a big deal. Like we got to do that.
Perfect.
It's gonna be a wild night. I can't wait. A place to crash would be lovely. I'll take a couch, but if there's a floor, I'll manage. I'll hopefully be easy. I fall asleep fast. October 5th, we're in Whitby, Ontario, which is just to the east for Whitby Fan Con, formerly known as Whitcalf. That should be a nice day for you and I as well. Mm-hmm. Some outdoor and indoor comic book people and local artisans of some kind. Hopefully we get some good food that day too. October 27th, up in Newmarket, we'll be at Wayside Creator Con. And November 16th should close out the full season with the Mississauga Comic Expo. We're going to put the X into the MCX and I'll be at Mississauga Comic Expo. You are recovering from Taylor Swift.
Yeah, the night before with my family.
Oh, that's fantastic. Also, the Mountain Music Festival.
Don't forget.
March 14th to 18th. Don't ever forget about that. And we'll be there as well.
We can't ever. It's always comes up every week. We'll never forget it.
Thank you to everyone in the chat. You guys are hilarious, and we love spending Tuesday nights with you. You are a great bunch. I hope you all have a really good week and that you get to read some other X-Men comics. Oh, shit. There was a thing I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Why isn't JRJR doing this?
Right.
Why wasn't he on this issue? Okay. Why isn't he on next issue? What's going on? And I'm just going to throw it out there. The new universe is coming.
The new universe.
Right. That's what I want to throw out there. Okay. So there is another project coming.
Okay.
A big thing for Marvel as they hit their 25th anniversary. First there was the Marvel Universe. Then there was the new universe. Okay. And JRJR was tapped for what is supposed to be the massive selling new character, like new flagship character, Starbrand.
Starbrand is the name.
Right. Oh, yeah, right? So he's
sounds awful.
This is going to be a rock solid success. He's moving off of X-Men. By the way, there are more JRJR X-Men issues coming, but he's working on, at this moment in time, he's working on Starbrand for the new universe, another thing for Marvel, a big concept from Jim Shooter. This won't have any negative results, right? This won't lead to Jim Shooter getting fired, will it? No. So we will see how this all goes.
Face. He's making a winky face.
He's making a winky face. Let's see how that plays out. There's so much to talk about as we move forward with some changes in the House of Ideas, so to speak. And that will bring us, of course, to the end of our show. I'd like to thank, as always, writer of Group of Seven Comics, writer of A Most Secret Tale, and writer of Peregrines, our lovely friend here, Chris Sanagan. Thank you for being here, Chris.
Thanks, and shout out to you as well. You know, you bring this shit, make it happen every week, Jason. So thanks for that. Yeah,
I click a button, and we really enjoy spending the time with you. And we will read issue 205 next week. It will be a blast. Everyone, stay safe. Have a good week. Look after each other. Stay exy, my friends, and thanks, Bub. Bubs plural.
Auf Wiedersehen.